we will speak on the topic of crystal-body integration. Where your world is heading is a continual encouragement factor as it relates to the integration, propagation, cultivation, amalgamation, and fruition of the crystal body matrix that exists throughout the hemispheres of your planet, existing within the inner core, existing within the inner mantle, existing within the inner crust, existing within the atmospheric domain, existing within the ethereal layer, that all connects together as these rotating rings, as this alive, living network of cohesion that functions on a crystal, etheric, consciousness level. And that these particular forms of energetic rings, this network that is coming online, all interconnects together with the crystallization of what is taking place within your own DNA systems. The key to being able to integrate yourself more so to the component of the crystallization process relies more on the purging of the emotional states. The emotional states that create resistance. The emotional states that have a great deal of white static. To where this white static is created comes from frustration, anger, aggression. The lack of trust, the lack of love that flows through each of you. The more that the emotional heaviness, the emotional weight can therefore be purged, released, harmonized, accepted, and forgiven, the more that you are in touch with the crystallization of your body. The emotional states basically represent these strong weights that are attempting to distort the grid, not only through your body, but through the actual grid that is created throughout your planet, that took many millennia to create. We understand that many of you are going through intense times. We understand that there have been quote-unquote tragedies occurring upon your planet collectively, and that many of you have been taking a very heavy toll as it relates to this, and that this is all part and parcel of you being able to work yourselves together into an advancement of crystallization. But before crystallization can be visited, tragedy must be visited first. But before we get into crystallization, we say to many of you that what you are experiencing on the planet right now is not punishment. It is not something in regards for other beings outside of yourself attempting to get you, or attempting to purposely put you in this state where you must dwell in the idea of hopelessness. Tragedy is a teacher. Conflict is an instructor. Darkness is a facilitator. In regards to the shadows that represent yourselves, that these collective shadows are constantly pressing down the extremes as it relates to such chaotic natures, to such tragic situations, that it is pressing down so hard and so intensely and showing so much of itself, all for one particular reason. How deep do we have to go before you decide to change? That is why your planet is doing this. Tragedy is a precursor to unification. That's why you're going through all of these experiences collectively. As we have been saying, for the times that we have been with this channel, that around these particular times, things will get very intense. It will be a very intense roller coaster ride. And that these particular forms of tragedies that are happening are a result of critical mass. And that critical mass has now visited your planet and is in a very high plethora of being. Critical mass has stirred the pot. And because this pot has been stirring so much, it results to so many different aspects relating to your own culture, civilization, systems that have been on this planet for so long to be exposed, to be out in the open, to see a lot more than what you believed actually existed. And that this is all being brought into the surface for tragedy to continue, for the idea of the exposure to what has been, shall we say, veiled beyond your eyes, that is now having that veil removed, and saying this tragedy is pushing itself down, is moving itself into such great intensity, because it is attempting to get as many of you as possible reactive to it. Not to say, oh my goodness, this is so awful, I just don't want to be here on this planet. I want to escape. I want to run away. I don't want to deal with it. This is part of your planet. This is part of who you are. This is all part and parcel of the intense tragedies, of the intense exposures that have now uplifted themselves, because many of you are reaching into the soil and pulling all of these roots out. So by being able to crystallize yourself is being able to realize all of this is happening in regards to what is a precursor to a divine transformation that is taking place. Much how like a caterpillar would go through the cocoon and go through these very intense transformations, metamorphosizing itself into something else that looks nothing like its previous state. And that's what's happening to you, dearest humans, in regards to your planet. You are in the cocoon cycle. You are metamorphosizing. You are going through these intense, radical changes, transmutating your DNA, transmutating all of these particular systems that you have all collectively agreed upon that you no longer wish to participate with. And by doing so, you have uprooted all of these particular forms of systems, and because they have been uprooted, this creates much of the chaos. Chaos is a precursor to natural order. Not synthesized order, not superficial order, not imposed order that represents the idea of dominance, but the idea of natural order that leads to settlement. And that is where you are going. So rather than feeling that you must panic, that you must be afraid, that you must do all of these particular types of emotional tie-ins that lead you more deeper into the drama, look into the idea about what all of these tragedies are saying so that you are becoming a solutionist. So that you are realizing, well, now that I've seen how intensely corrupt that system is, I am going to start working on my own behest. I am going to start working together with others to change the systems. That is exactly why tragedy, exactly why chaos, exactly why conflict, exactly why the uprooting of this planet is happening the way it is. You have all collectively agreed to change it. But in order for you to change it, exposure must happen first. And so, when all of you come together, there is nothing in creation that stops you from molding the collective reality to your own means, by you being able to work together as a group. And if you're still not working as a group, tragedy will intensify itself. Its face will become much more intense. And it will continue to feel that it is going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Because the earth is saying, all right, my human children, I'm going to scare you to the point that it needs to get you to work together with yourselves. And the more that you hesitate, I'll make it worse. I'll make it even more worse. I will go even deeper and scare you into the point where you say, oh my goodness, I am not looking at this any further. I am switching and taking action and motivating myself to become a transformationalist. And I am working together with these groups. This is what creates the crystal body. This is what brings about that idea of the crystalline nature. Because to be in that crystalline nature is to, again, like the butterfly, go through a crystallization process like the cocoon, to which the caterpillar once occupied. And the crystallization process creates that metamorphosis. And now the crystallization starts to break apart, starts to shatter. And lo and behold, a brand new being comes out from the crystal, comes out from the cocoon. And you have become a new crystallized being. So to integrate the crystal energies within yourselves, to allow this crystallization to become part of you, is to allow yourself to reflect on all of the feelings and emotions that you are going through right now, and being able to realize what they are saying to you, and being able to reach an advancement, an ascent, by acknowledging and forgiving those aspects of emotion, because that is weighing you down and distorting the crystallization process within yourself. So once you have gone through that, once you have transformed that aspect of emotional turbulence, and you are now coming more into your light, the lightness that you are going through is a part of the crystallization construct. That the crystallization that is taking a part of you is integrating your intuitive aspects, is increasing your ability of physical aspects, being able to become much more healthy by eating for a crystalline energy body, by being able to work together with each other to amplify the crystallization within yourself, by being able to work together with the symphonies of joy that bring you into the purest states of authenticity. And in those purest states of authenticity, you will see yourselves radically transform and resonate this energy like a fork that is hitting a crystal glass, nice and gently, and a little bit harder, and a little bit harder, and a little bit harder, based on how much you want to love yourself, based on how much you're ready to radiate that crystalline energy. So Adronis, how can we truly tap into the crystalline body a lot more? What is it that allows the crystalline body to become noticed by ourselves? The hollowing out, again, of everything that is superficial. Being able to perform certain forms of tonal qualities will also be able to assist in the refinement of the crystalline body. Being able to work together in the appropriate frequency ranges that associate together with every chakra center can be of assistance in being able to radiate the crystal body. Once you are purified from the idea of anything that represents the turbulence of emotion. So as we stated, the idea of emotional turbulence is what is causing the turmoil, is what's causing the distortion in the first place. When that is cleared, you are now much more in touch with your crystalline body. And the crystalline body in that sense will come forward and will share itself a lot more with you, because the crystalline body is all about looking into the idea about how this energy flows through you. The noticeability about how thought magnetizes into crystalline structure. For crystalline energy is what you would consider to be of the highest physical density that exists within this domain. And so when you are playing with the crystalline energies, you will notice a sharpness in regards to the state of your natural intuition. You will feel that you are much more empathetic. You will feel that your heart, in that way, may actually be beating at a little bit more of a higher pace. Not very much, but a much more gradual transformation. You will notice that you will no longer become physically ill. That is the result in that sense of having the crystalline matrix, the crystalline body, come online. You will notice intense dietary changes, that you may actually, in that sense, intensely cut back on, shall we say, regular supplies of food, regular portions of food that were much more heavy set in that way. There will be much more of a reduction of portioning. There will be much more in regards to the lighter consumption of organic foods, often through the idea of, shall we say, lighter foods, that again attempt the crystallization process, that is actually allowing your own cellular makeup to become intensified, crystallized in this way. You will notice that it will become less of a challenge to go into meditation states when you are again aligning with the crystalline body. You will notice even that you will not even have to go into meditation states in many different ways to actually allow conscious, coherent contact with other particular beings, whether it be different versions of people that you are communicating with in the physical. So again, alternate versions of them, or even their own higher selves, or even their own guides. Being able to communicate with the edifice of your own guides, of your own particular forms of contacts that exist in higher planes of consciousness. Making much more conscientious decisions that reflect the energies, the epitome of your own authenticity, to become brought into the light on a state that is much, much more prevalent, prominent, and impactful to yourself. No longer feeling that you are, in that sense, dancing around the circles, as it represents feedback to areas that are still caught up in dramatic twists. This is a sign of working together with the crystalline body. This is the sign of you moving more into a fourth density being, because to be a fourth density being is to be in touch with the crystalline body. Working together with the hue of colors, that your creative abilities will become enhanced, and that you will feel much more of this connection to the colors of the planet, the colors within nature, the colors that you decide to play with in regards to creative arts, working with color vibrational frequencies in meditation, working to bring forward color healing frequencies through much of your own healing facilitations, again, is a product of crystallization. All of these particular forms of aspects that you are noticing require much less effort is actually all part of a sign of your body becoming crystallized. That is not to say in that sense that you will lack a physicalized body, but within every particular cell will increase the aspect in regards to a crystal matrix, looking in the idea like a water crystal that has been harmonized in regards to a beautiful geometry, would be a very similar analogy relating to what your cells are actually going through as you move more into a harmonious state. So the crystalline body can be accessed through those particular degrees of notification, seeing how you are evolving in that way. But again, the challenge here is being able to realize that these particular emotions that you hold on to, that the feeling that you have been victimized, the feeling that you have been abused, the affliction that you feel that you are an abuser yourself, that you're not worthy, that you're jealous, that you create judgment, ridicule, you don't trust yourself, you don't love yourself, etc., etc., etc. All of this is looking to be harmonized. And many people are noticing a much more intense ratio as it pertains to the energetic of these emotions coming through a lot more stronger. Yes, because it is the earth herself telling you, you need to get this out. You need to get this out. You're going places. You're walking through this bridge right now. You've already put your foot into fourth density, but there still is a journey ahead. There still is a transit that you are going through, even though you may be waiting at the gates for a deeper immersion of fourth density to occur. You're still going through your own journey, because there still are the aspects of the debris pertaining to third density that is following behind you like a tail, and that these particular emotional aspects are attempting to get themselves all out, because the clock is ticking in that particular way. You are vibrationally attempting to move yourself up But again, that tail of debris is attempting to still weigh you down. So being able to move into the alignment of helping yourself along and working with this very, very heavy tail and allowing these emotions to come out. Not bottling them, not suppressing them, not kicking them into the dirt or ignoring them, but allowing these emotions to express themselves, having a sacred space for yourself to allow these emotions to be shared. Not venting them at other people, but just being in your own space. Because to vent these emotions at other people can take that in a very different way, and you are only creating more cords of conflict. Let these energies out. Let yourself obtain the state of closure that you feel is appropriate, rather than feeling that there must be a reactionary quotient to it. And this is helping you to enable these emotions to come out, to accept them for what they are, to trace into the root cause, to where many of these emotions have stemmed from, to going into those particular timelines and looking into the suffering of other versions of yourself, sending those energies love, embracing those aspects of yourself, embracing all elements that represented the aspect of that timeline to become diluted and distorted in the way that it did, and being able to refresh the energies by acknowledgement, by forgiveness, and allowing that emotion to come through, allowing yourself now to become neutral after the purging of the emotion, and looking observationally at the timelines, and sending love to your fragmented, fractured selves, so that you can become recrystallized in that way, and moving yourself into higher alignment. Realigning yourself and coming into the composure of your own central neutral nexus. That is your contact to the crystal body. That is your connection to the authenticity that makes up the crystalline infrastructure that is now transmuted into every single human being on this planet. As long as you've lived here, you are crystallized. But again, based upon the emotional states that you are going through, that crystallization can be fragmented. It can be distorted. It can be worn and torn. So the whole idea here is, please, dearest humans, from our perspective, look into this deeply. Give yourself time for you. Put aside the demands of physical reality for at least a short time and work with these emotional transformations. Allow these emotions to come out. Allow them to be accepted. Allow them to be forgiven. Allow the timelines to be healed, and return to the crystal connectivity of what you truly are authentically.